While no longer the juggernaut it was in the 90s and early 2000s, the 3D platformer genre is still alive and well in 2025, thanks largely to indie developers keeping that spirit alive. Though these games no longer dominate the mainstream, it's refreshing when a hidden gem emerges to remind us why the genre still matters. Recent titles like Penny's Big Breakaway and the Goemon-inspired Bakuru have carved out a niche among genre diehards. And now, as we eagerly await DK Bonanza on our shiny new Switch 2 consoles, Zockrates Labs enters the arena with its debut title, Ruffy and the Riverside. So get ready to jump, run, and literally paint the town red with excitement, as I'm here to tell you why you should be paying attention to your next favorite indie darling. While there may not be a lot of information about up-and-coming developer Zockrates Labs, one thing is for certain. Their love of the 3D platforming genre, and specifically Nintendo games, is plastered all over Ruffy's DNA. In a recent interview with Neto's Game Room, Patrick from Zockrates states, "We really love the games from the N64 and early PlayStation era. Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Crash Bandicoot, and Mario 64. Those were the games we grew up with. Also, Paper Mario proved that you could do games with 2D sprite characters. However, we never wanted to do a retro game. In fact, the swap mechanic is pretty unique and innovative. It is most evident from the jump, no pun intended of course. You find yourself in a colorful world in the shoes, or rather fur, of one vivacious bear named Ruffy with his trusty bee friend Pip as they navigate the titular world of Riverside. All is peaceful in the world of Riverside, until Ruffy and Pip accidentally unleash a mysterious force known as Groll while getting a machine up and running for Sir Edler the Mole. Havoc is let loose, and it is up to Ruffy to restore the world of Riverside and rescue the inhabitants from Groll. As you set off on your quest, you will be inundated with all sorts of challenges from the denizens of Riverside, usually in the form of various puzzles like matching shapes to wall paintings, or solving the crow's riddles to complete a two-part objective to usually obtain some sort of collectible, which there is no short supply of. Ruffy and the Riverside sets itself apart from its contemporaries in the 3D platforming genre by way of its swap mechanic, which the developers tout in all its promotional materials. Like they state, you can't stop the swap. This is easily the highlight of the game, and you will make use of it in various different ways throughout your journey. The game makes use of this in really clever ways, such as making platforms an accessible height for you to jump on, by turning water into lava, by burning wooden platforms, or copying different enemies for wall art and pasting them on enemies that would make an otherwise accessible area inaccessible. And speaking of which, Ruffy does have access to some light punches and a spin attack straight out of Crash Bandicoot that he could use to bust open crates for coins or defeat some small enemies sprinkled across Riverside. You will then use coins to purchase new capes for Ruffy from a local merchant, or buy yourself more vitality in the way of a vending machine. Though Ruffy in the Riverside tends to be on the easier side, so you'll never be begging for more hearts, but it's always nice to have extra hearts to mess around with. Capes can be upgraded with fast regenerative powers, or you can increase your stamina a la Legend of Zelda, and speaking of which, there are references to Nintendo's famous series and various other franchises mentioned earlier, so eagle-eyed gamers will want to keep a vigilant eye out for them. From subtle nods to sections pulled straight out of the Lost Woods in Ocarina of Time, I couldn't help but have the biggest smile on my face as I picked up on the references immediately. As I mentioned previously, there are plenty of quests to complete along the way, and the main mission itself is already a lengthy one. I have to give major props to Zockrates Labs. I actually feel they undersold Ruffy in the Riverside, as they easily could have charged $29.99 for the sheer amount of game offered here. I have easily sunk over 10 hours worth of gameplay from beginning to end. Ruffy in the Riverside will cost you $19.99 and is more than worth its price tag. The main story, while not incredibly deep by any stretch of the imagination, doesn't have to be. Ruffy in the Riverside is a charming game that understands its audience well by offering up an engaging 3D platformer that offers plenty of content, a decent-sized main story, thought-provoking puzzles that range from baby mode to head-scratchers. There is something here for every fan of the genre. And the music bumps too, dude. It has a mixture of like low-key, chill vibes when entering caves or spooky themed portions of the game world, or some vibrant upbeat spots in sunny portions. Your mobility options open up significantly as you progress through the game by way of a bale of hay of all things. With it, you can zip across the expansive map with ease and even access secret areas by grinding on rails with the bale of hay. Ruffy in the Riverside will always hold a special place in my heart as one of my earliest Switch 2 gaming experiences, and I have to give a huge thank you to Pirate PR for the review copy and Zockrates Labs for creating this beautiful gaming experience. Ruffy in the Riverside oozes charm out of every nook and cranny of its being by offering a memorable 3D platformer that should be required gaming for any fan of Banjo-Kazooie, Paper Mario, and the like. Its hand-drawn art direction for sprites immediately stands out amongst the herd and effortlessly blends them with the 3D environments. Although Ruffy runs well enough on Switch, I look forward to an eventual Switch 2 update, as Zockrates have touted on their social media about Ruffy on Switch 2, so an upgraded version with better fidelity and increased frame rates would be welcome. Overall, I give Ruffy in the Riverside an 8.5 out of 10. There really isn't much to complain about here. The game world is vibrant, full of charm, an upbeat soundtrack, memorable cast of characters that every fan of the 3D platforming genre should pay attention to. Secure your copy today for only $19.99, which is a complete steal. If you guys get around to playing Ruffy in the Riverside, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Did this video make you want to pick up a copy of the game? Are you now interested in it because of this video? Sound off below. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and have yourselves a good one.